Hey, what's up, everyone? So, before we get started, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not going to go through and show you guys how to read a wiring diagram or even bring them all out. However, if you do know how to read one, which I hope you do if you're trying this, you should be able to follow along with all the information that I'm going to give you. Now, if you are looking for a wiring diagram, we do have those on our website. It's free information, so I'll link it down below. You can find things from wiring diagrams to ECM pinouts, which you're definitely going to have because the ECM pinouts do change throughout the years. So yeah, that's it. Let's get started. Okay, so we got here a 4Runner with a 5VZ swap, and the client came in, wanted to rewire everything. So he's got the 3VZ wire harness, body harness in there. And what we're gonna try to do is actually just splice everything that needs power to the actual 5VZ and give everything power so that the truck can turn on with the original ignition. So I already got everything kind of labeled, found everything. I bought ourselves a relay box, and I'm gonna go ahead and start splicing, and we'll see if we can get this thing turned on. So before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's talk about our ignition wires in order to turn it on with our original ignition. Here is our starter wire, the black and white wire. This wire is actually going to the starter signal, and it's labeled STA on the cylinder. I know this wire is a little too small. We're going to change it, but this goes around over to the starter, which lets it know to actually engage when you crank it. As far as the rest of these wires go, the ignition and ignition 2, these are being fed directly from the fuse box over here with the AM1 and AM2. So as long as you have that hooked up to the battery, you don't have to do anything else. So as far as getting ignition power to the relay box, I'm doing that through these two body harness plugs right here. These are the 3VZ body harness plugs. And since that already has power through the fuse box up front, once I turn this ignition, one of these wires here is going to give me ignition power. Now I can look through the wiring diagram to check which one it's going to be. But a good and easy way to test that is just get your test light. Make sure your battery's plugged in, and there it is. Make sure you turn it off and check it to see if it's not constant power. Shouldn't be, and you're good to go. So hook that up to your relay box, and you'll be able to feed everything else that needs ignition power. Okay, so we don't actually need too many wires to get this engine to run. Here is our 5VZ ECM, and this plug right here is labeled the E5 plug on the wiring harness diagram. Now I know this looks a little intimidating, but all of these wires are not going to be used. Only these two. This is how we're going to get power to the ECM. Here is our battery, which is a constant 12, and here is our B positive, which is our ignition power. Now, mind you, be sure to check your ECM pinouts because these might be different depending on what year 4Runner or 5VZ you have. Okay, so now that we have ignition power and constant power to the ECM, we still need to get ignition power to a lot of our sensors. These things include sensors like the mass airflow sensor, the IAC valve, the injectors, the coils, and so on. Now, to do this, we're actually going to have to get into the plug that plugs into the body harness. So from the engine to the body harness. So staying on the 5VZ side, so we don't get too ahead of ourselves, here is that plug that I was talking about. This is the IK2 plug labeled on our wiring diagram, and it comes from the 5VZ wire harness and goes into the body harness, which we don't have because this is a 3VZ original. Now, on this plug, I'm only going to have to use two wires to give power to everything that needs to make this engine run. On my side, the black and the red is going to be the injectors, which is going to have ignition power. And then the white and the red is actually going to feed everything else. My IAC valve, mass airflow sensor, the data link connector, and all the goodies. So this is also going to have ignition power. So as far as the coils and igniters, as you can see, the control wires are being fed directly from the ECM, and the power comes from the same exact black and red ignition power that we are feeding for our injectors. So we don't have to do anything else there, and we're done. So what's next is we got to give our fuel pump power in order for the truck to actually turn on. All right, so I completely forgot to post that last video. I turned on the truck. It's been running for well over a year now, and it's had no issues. So yeah, if I don't post these videos now, I'm just gonna lose them. So as far as getting fuel to your motor, you just got to give ignition power to your circuit opening relay. Once you do that, your fuel pump is going to work, and it's going to shoot fuel up to your engine. So I don't remember the exact color codes, but I'm sure you can ask someone or figure it out. But yeah, I would suggest maybe adding a kill switch to that, just since you're already there, and maybe saving up some money to get a legit harness while you're at it. But yeah, good luck, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a message, and then maybe we can figure things out together. See ya.